and welcome to another episode of CantoSense, where we are embracing Chinese culture for Christian living. We have received many comments from our beloved viewers asking us if we have Chinese versions of CantoSense. And unfortunately, the answer right now is no, because we're trying to build up this platform first in English. We do recognize that there are Chinese resources out there that are available and they're not hard to find. But if you are interested to adapt what we're doing here into Chinese, just let us know.
We have heard from a lot of you, and one of the themes that keep coming up is with regards to mental health, especially in these times of lockdown with COVID-19. The issue of mental health has really surfaced quite strongly. We recognize that it is a complex issue. We thought we'd just bring it up as perhaps a topic to start us thinking.
At CantoSense, we're here to talk about how we can view the Chinese culture through the Christian lens. But I think both in the Chinese and Christian culture, there has been reluctance to talk about mental health, albeit for different reasons. And when we say mental health, we're including everything from depression, anxiety, disorders, a wide breadth of different situations that people are experiencing. But where do you think that really stems from, this aversion to talking about it?
From my family, I know that when I was really young enough to know something was wrong, was when my grandmother actually had a mental breakdown. And for years and years after that, we would not talk about it. And whenever I asked my mom or anyone in the family, like, what happened to Papa, they'll say, oh, she wasn't feeling well. They wouldn't even use the word mental health or that she had a mental breakdown. They're not very forthcoming with regards to what exactly happened. So it took me many years for me to finally discover that she had mental breakdown.
Okay.
Within the Chinese culture, where faith is so important. If you break down or you have a mental illness or if you have depression, it is seen that something is wrong with you.
Yes.
And therefore, we should not let people know. We should keep it within the family. I think, too, very little is understood about mental health. For example, if you have kidney issues or if you have a disease, you would not be reluctant to talk about it and go see the doctor.
Yes.
But when it comes to mental health, there is this lack of recognition that it is an illness and that it needs professional help. And as a result of that, we don't seek help because either we don't want to be known or ashamed to admit there's a problem, or we don't understand that it's something that we genuinely need professional help or medical help for it.
When it comes to physical needs, I think the pragmatism of the Chinese people can wrap their mind around the idea that you need to go get your kidneys checked out. No one's going to see it as a negative reflection on you as a person. It's unfortunate.
You get sympathy. Yeah.
Right. It's unfortunate. Like, oh, we hope you feel better soon. But you won't be seen as a lesser person. It doesn't shame you and your dignity to have that. I've heard Chinese people in the middle of fights say,你應該去睇心理上醫生，因為你有問題. When an irrational comment is made in a fight, the retort is, you need to go see a psychologist because you have a problem. And it's said in such a degrading or demeaning way.
It's canto fighting.
It's canto fighting, where it just becomes insulting. But you can see that that's used as a way to bring down the other person, that you must have a mental problem. Hence, you're saying things like that. Which is a terrible stigma to even want to own up to. Then if you really do have mental health issues, then both the church and Christian community need to work on this, because he is the God of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our hearts, everything. And yet we're not ready to receive it if we don't acknowledge that we need that. And the other tragic thing is, where mental health is not talked about, that's where the enemy can actually get in, pushes us into a corner, and then sucker punches us. Keep this a secret. It's embarrassing. You keep things in the dark and we don't let light in, then we can't find freedom in that.
Absolutely.
I've heard Chinese people pray that that God would give us 身心靈嘅醫治, which is physical, heart, and spiritual healing, asking God for that. And when Chinese people pray that, I think they're trying to pray a prayer that is holistically addressing our entire beings. But my question is, do we really believe that God can work in our mental health situations, that he can heal us in those areas as well? In many episodes, you've talked about how we can not reject, but redeem. And I would say in the area of mental health, we need to straight up reject the Chinese view of approaching mental health issues. It is not okay to keep things a secret. It is not okay to feel ashamed. God is
Yeah,
not ashamed of how he's made us. He knows
yeah.
our weaknesses. We got to fight against this. We got to break through. And in that, we are redeeming. God is ready to redeem Chinese culture in this way and give us that freedom. But we got to open up the conversation and acknowledge that we really do need that help.
It reminds me of the story about that woman who was bleeding all her life. It was a disease that was very shameful, but yet, she went out in the public and she just wanted healing from Jesus because she trusted that he was able to do that, and she
Yeah.
reached out. So I think it's resisting that shame because there is nothing shameful about it. Think about the Chinese culture. We are clearly a collective culture.
Mm.
And I think there's a place for us to leverage on what we do best. We support and we help each other well in community.
Mm.
And even as we think about mental health, obviously we should seek professional help.
Mm.
But yet at the same time, there should be no shame because this is what the kingdom of God is. This is what the
Mm.
community of Jesus followers is about, where we support each other and help each other in our journey towards full healing, towards
Mm.
becoming whole again.
But even certain things like depression, for example, which has become very common. So yawatting, in Cantonese is what we would call it. There's many people out there who understand the term, but they don't know what it is or what it means to have it or how debilitating it can be or how to help. And oftentimes we shy away from things that we don't understand. So like you were saying earlier, when we don't understand it, we just sort of then step away from
Yeah,
it.
avoid talking about it.
Right, exactly. Because maybe there's a shame in not knowing about it. I'm not an expert in this, so I don't want to say anything. If we don't know what depression is like, let's learn together. Let's start growing and learning together about these things so that we're all more knowledgeable and able to support each other in this, especially with the pandemic and everything that globally we're going through. I don't think we can avoid this anymore. And it's being brought to the forefront
Yeah.
that this is such a big part of our being, and God is ready to help us and redeem us in that.
Thank you again for tuning in. This is really our attempt to surface a very important topic. Obviously, we're not able to cover it in depth, but we encourage you, if perhaps you need someone to talk to, just reach out to someone in church or in community or someone in your family to talk about it. We can work through this. Thank you again for tuning in. And as always, we love to hear from you. So contribute your CantoSense with us, drop your comments, and we will see you the next time.